Guys, in this video we've got some upgrades to put onto the Arrma Notorious. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, you feed him for life. People keep asking me to send them free RC cars. It wasn't that long ago when I could only barely afford to keep that running. You know, that's a Nitro Savage up there. I could only just about afford to put fuel in it and to use it and to pay for repairs. Now, I can afford to buy a brand new one every single day if I want. And I can teach you guys how to do the exact same thing. It took me the last few years to figure out a few things that you have to get right in order to make decent money selling items on eBay. And I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can implement today, that you can use right away to help you get your eBay store off the ground. And I've also got a 100% free mini eBay course where I'll show you guys exactly how to set up your own eBay store. So if you check the link down below, guys, head over to my website kevtalbot.com/eBay42 and you can get in on my free course and I'll share with you the free tips. Alright guys, enjoy this video. So here she is, looking beautiful. In the other video, what I did, I put a brace across the top here to support the 2 towers because these Arrmas do have a tendency to bend the chassis. So you put this across here and it's supposed to hold the 2 towers together and help stop the chassis from bending. But these plastic braces still break. So I've got these alloy ones here by GPM, and also these standard servo mounts, they're quite weak and flexible because they're made of plastic. So a lot of people in the comments said, Kev, get a metal one. So I did. By the way, guys, I'm going to put a link to these upgrades down below in the description box. Also, while I have it apart, I want to put in some thicker centre diff fluid because this has got a habit for the front wheels just to spin up quite a bit. But I did try to do it before, and the Loctite in these screws are so tight. I could not get the screws out. So I'm really going to have to get a little bit of heat on there. I've got this little torch thingy majig here. So I'm going to have to heat this up and break the Loctite, and then I can get the screws out. But I'm going to have to remove a few more items so I can actually get in there properly. So I think first things first, I'm going to have to remove the side guards. Let's just get on with it. Alright, so we're going to spend a little bit of time now just heating up all the parts where the screws are in, and hopefully the Loctite's going to break off, and I'm going to put you back on. Alright, so the first screws now come loose. The next screws is one here and one on the other side of that, but I'm going to have to remove this brace, which is no big deal because I've got to remove it anyway. If you saw my unboxing video, guys, you would have seen that I've already given this a go and they didn't come out. But I was short of time, so I kind of left it. But now I've got a bit more time, so now I'm going to try and do it all properly. But obviously, when you're heating this stuff up, you've got to remove any plastic from all the surrounding areas, otherwise you're going to melt stuff. Oh yes, it's working. They're coming out, guys. Look at all that Loctite on that screw, guys. They definitely weren't messing about when they put these in. But it is better to have to struggle here in the shop than it is when you're outside playing and it all falls to pieces. Hey, that's all fell out the bottom. Alright, so next I want to get the centre diff out because then I can change the fluid and actually put a bit of oil in there. Because as you can see there, guys, look, there's barely anything in there. It's really loose. And there we have one Notorious diff. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave it upside down for a little while, let it drain out what's in there, and I'm going to top it up with something a bit thicker. Alright, so it's been chilling there for about 10 minutes now. Most of it's come out, there's still a little bit in there, but I'm only a basher, I'm not a racer, so I'm not going to be too overly fussed about it really, to be honest, as long as I've got most of it out. So next, I'm going to put in this 500,000, not really sure if it's CST or if it's weight, but it's thick. I mean, look how thick that is, it's like treacle. Loop a bit of that in there. I really want to try and work that in as much as possible so that it goes all the way around the gears. If I was going to do this properly, I would take it apart and clean all the gears. But, you know, as I said, I'm only a basher. I'm not really that overly bothered, as long as it stiffens it up a little bit. Alright, let's put it back together. Alright, time to put it all back together. And I always do the last little bit up by hand, just so I don't strip out any screws. Alright, so I want to gear this up so it goes faster. So I've included with this Arrma Notorious does come a high-speed gear. And they do say not to use it for off-road. But I want more stunt performance, so I'm going to put it on anyway. Because what that means is going to give it more wheel speed, which means it's going to give us more crazy backflip action. So this grub screw comes with Loctite already on it. But I'm going to put my own on there because there's nothing worse than you out bashing, pinion comes loose, you lose it, and it spoils your day out. So I'm going to really make sure that it's on there. But first, I'm going to degrease it. I want to really make sure that there's no grease in the thread anywhere, because any grease in there, that just means the Loctite's not going to do its job, and all the screws are going to come loose. So I'll really go to town here and really make sure that there's no cutting fluid in here, because when they make these, they're more than likely they've put cutting fluid on the taps to make this thread. And as you can see, look, you can see it all on the end of there. So I really want to go to town here and really clean that up as good as possible. So I'm going to spend 5 minutes at this. I'm going to turn the camera off to save you guys getting bored. And then I'll put you back on when I've done it. Alright, so the Loctite that I use is this 270 thread locker. And it's actually a stud lock, which means it's super, super strong. And it's pretty much permanent. Once it's in there, it's in there. But heat does get it out. So if you get that little blowtorch on there, heat it up, it will come out again. As I said before, guys, I'd much rather struggle here in the shop where I've got proper tools to work on this, and when you're out playing and it keeps falling to pieces. So on here, I've already given it the treatment. This was so tight I couldn't get it off, so I've done the heat treatment. I heated it all up. So, a lot of people, when they set the gear mesh, they put a piece of paper between these two gears. I mean, I've been doing this for years now, so I don't bother. I'll just do it by feel. Because pretty much what you want to do, you want to get it as close, you want to get this pinion gear as close to the spur gear as possible. But you still want a little bit of backlash. You still want a little bit of play like this. But you want to get it as close as you can. It's going to take a little bit of trial and error. And just make sure that when you turn it on all four corners, that there is actually a little bit of play. And then once you're happy, you can nip it up. And then make sure that it's still got a bit of play all the way around. Which it hasn't. Alright, so I've just spent a little bit of time there. And I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but there's a tiny little bit of rock there. And if you turn that round, you try that on all four corners. Just to double check, because sometimes I don't machine these perfectly round and you're going to get a bit where it's high and low. So you want to make sure there's definitely no tight spots, because otherwise it's just going to kill your motor bearings and your diff bearings and heat everything up. Alright, so now I'm happy with that. I guess I can just bolt it back in. Alright, I'm going to re-Loctite these because they're pretty loose in there now. Sometimes when you take screws out with Loctite already on there, you can sometimes get away if you're not putting it back on, provided it's fairly stiff to get them back in. But these are so easy to get out now, I'm going to put a bit more on there. So otherwise it's just going to rattle loose. Alright, so next I'm going to put this rear brace in. And by the way, here's the part number in case you want to know. And as I said, guys, I'm going to put a link to all of these down below. So these are made by GPM. So next we're going to put the front brace on. So here's the part number. And again, guys, there's going to be a link to this down below. Alright, so I've got the braces in. The nice thing about them being black is it just makes it look fairly standard. It just makes it look like it's supposed to be. And as you can see, guys, it fits in there absolutely perfectly. It's got a little notch just on there just to clear this drive shaft here. And here's the front one. Fits just as perfectly. So next, I'm going to fit this alloy servo mount. And by the way, guys, I'm going to put a link to this down below as well. Alright, so here it is, all assembled, and guys, it looks pretty decent. But next, I've got to remove the old one. Ah, well, it would go through there, wouldn't it? Ah, means I've got to get into the receiver box. Never mind, no big deal. We've got to thread him all the way out and then thread the new one all the way back on. So I'm just going to screw that servo back on now, just so I don't lose the screws. Alright, so it's all in there now, and that servo mount is solid. So that should solve all those servo flex issues now, which should make the steering feel a lot more direct. The braces are all in there, so all I've got to do now is put my homemade centre brace across there again, cable tie it in, and we're good to give it a blast. Alright, so there we have it all back together again. We've got the brace back in there. So it's pretty much ready to go out and give it a good kicking. Oh guys, that looks so epic. So in the last video I had to go a little bit easy on it just because I didn't have those metal braces in. But now that we've done the modifications, now we can let it have it. So guys, we're going to take this thing to a skate park soon. We're going to air the thing out. We're going to see what it's made of. So guys, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, smash the bell button to stay notified. See you soon. Bye. Want to make some extra cash so you can buy more toys, quit your job, go on more holidays, or maybe build a monster truck? I've got you covered. Check out my course in the description and I'll show you how to make 100k profit a year.